A bad case of the giggles. I found a book of poems. I brought the book to school, and every time I look at it, I giggle like a fool. Today in social studies, I opened up the book. I started giggling right away from just a single look. I'm croaking like a bullfrog. I'm braying like a mule. These aren't sounds you're supposed to make while studying at school. The more I try to stop it, the louder that I howl. I'm squawking like a parrot and hooting like an owl. I'm making a commotion. The teacher is upset. I'm losing my position here as teacher's favorite pet. My giggling is contagious. My friends have all joined in. The teacher's getting angry. We're making quite a din. The whole darn class is giggling. Not one of us can stop. The teacher says that if we can't, he'll call the hallway cop. The room next door has heard us, and now they're giggling too. The sound of giggling travels fast. The school sounds like a zoo. And now the teacher's giving up. He cannot teach today. The principal's declaring it a giggling holiday. This is a poem by Bruce Lansky. And as I was looking at Google Plus and all the presentations that everyone's doing the children's books. And so I'm going to just kind of do a different kind of book, give you a little different kind of a poetry book. As I've been reading a lot of children's literature, I've noticed that most children's literature is kind of in poem formation. This particular book here is called A Bad Case of Giggles, and it's just filled with a lot of different poems, and it's Bruce Lansky's the one who has done this. He's done other poem books. Some of his poem books are called Kids Pick the Funniest Poems, Mary Had a Little Jam, Miles of Smiles, If Kids Ruled the Schools. We've got quite a few of these really fun poetry books for kids. I picked this book because I love to write poems, and I always have, and I think that it's come from an elementary school teacher that I had, that she had a reading corner. And so after we finished our work, we could go in the reading corner. It had pillows and stuffed animals and everything. And she had a poetry book that my friends and I would usually go to and read when we'd go in there. And I think that that really started my love for rhyming and poetry. So in our reading this week for our lesson, it talked about poetry, and the poetry is supposed to provide fun and share joy and give the reader fun and enjoyment. And these poems in this book really do that. Poetry a lot of times is about rhythm and about rhyme. And I'm going to show you some different examples in this book of ways that Bruce Lansky has incorporated different kinds of poetry and the way that they've rhymed to help kids. So one here, as you noticed in this one here, the second and the fourth line in all of the different sections rhyme. This next one here, I think this is a real fun one. I'm going to read it to you, and it's a different take on the words in the English language, and it's called English is a Pain. And so if you can see it a little bit, rain, 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 English is a pain. Although the words sound just alike, the spelling is not the same. B, 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 I'd rather climb a tree than learn to spell the same old word, not just one way, but three. Sight, 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 I try with all my might. No matter which I finally choose, it's not the one that's right. There, 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 enough to make you swear. Too many ways to write one sound, I just don't think it's fair. Two, 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 so what's a kid to do? I think I'll go to live on Mars and leave this mess with you, or Y-O-U. So Shirley Curly Bingham, she wrote this. As you notice, that the first, the second, and the fifth line, they all rhyme. So there's a little bit of a different take on that. Another one that they do is this one here, should I? And it says, would I, could I, should I try to eat a slug, or would I die? Would it slide down sluggishly, or wiggle, squiggle, buggishly? Would it stick and slime my tongue or glide down swiftly to my lung? That might make me awful dead. Think I'll eat a worm instead. So you can kind of see how the rhythm's a little bit different and how they've got it set up is a little bit different than in the words that rhyme. The next one that I want to show you is how Bruce Lansky has done this really fun poem using words that make it a little bit kind of hard to read, and you have to get into a different kind of rhythm. And the poem is entitled, "Oh, Woe with Me." And I'm going to really try to read this. It's a little bit hard. So, ath I with biking down the tweet, I hit a bump and loth my feet. I quathed my bike into a twee. I watched my faith. Oh, woe with me. My bike ith wet. I've no excuse. And worth of all, my tooth ith loose. So that's kind of just a fun one. Again, you have to kind of get into the rhythm a little bit different on it. Another thing that he does in this book is he has some tongue twisters. And this is really fun. I love tongue twisters. This one, particular one here is Betty Botter. Betty Botter bought some butter, but she said the butter's bitter. If I put it in my batter, it will make my batter bitter. But a bit of better butter, that would make my batter better. So she bought a bit of butter better than her bitter butter, and she put it in her batter, and her batter was not bitter. So 'twas better. Betty Botter bought a bit of better butter. So kids get a little bit of different poetry there with the tongue twisters. The last one I want to show you is that he does takes on the nursery rhymes. And this is like Mary had a little lamb, but Mary had some bubble gum. She chewed it long and slow, and everywhere that Mary went, her gum was sure to go. She chewed the gum in school one day, which was against the rule. The teacher took her pack away and chewed it after school. So this book is just filled with so many great poems and different ways of writing poetry that teaches kids. I love the back of the book because it does give some testimonials, some from teachers. One teacher said, "Some of my students don't like reading, but once they open one of Lansky's poetry books, I can't get them to close it." So what a great way to get kids to have fun reading. Another teacher said, "Bruce Lansky turns reluctant readers into avid readers." They also had some kids talk about how they felt about the books, and one said, "I really like your site. I used to hate poetry, but you guys make it fun." Another one said, "I think these poems are the best poems ever. If you ever get down, they will make you feel better." So he even used the rhyming thing as his testimonial. So I hope that you enjoyed some of those fun poems that were in this book, and I've had a fun couple of days reading all of these poems and really put a smile on my face. So thanks for reading, or thanks for listening.